Exponents, Poland Spring, day 2. Dude, I just watched the Celtics game. That was tough. But, you know what's not tough? Exponents. When you put some effort in it. Let's get it. Alright, let's talk about it. The two expressions are shown below. Expression A, we have 2 to the second power plus 3 to the second power, all in parentheses. And then expression B, we have the binomial 2 plus 3 in parentheses to the second power. What we want to know are these two expressions equivalent? What is your process to evaluate each one? And so looking at these two expressions, what we need to ask ourselves is what order would we do it in PEMDAS? Because we can actually tell whether they're equivalent or not based off looking at them. For instance, these two expressions are not equivalent. They're not. How do you know this? Remember, when we take tests, we need to explain how we know they are not equivalent. I know this because expression A is squaring the numbers, or I should say the terms, and then adding. Then expression B is adding the terms, then squaring. And so these two expressions are not equivalent. Why? Because expression A is squaring the terms and then adding them. Then expression B is adding the terms and then squaring them. And so because we're doing the orders of operations in an inverse order, we're going to get different answers. For instance, let's simplify both A and B. So 2 to the second power, aka 2 squared, is 4. So this would be 4 plus 3 to the second power, which is 9. And so 4 plus 9 is equal to 13. And so if expression B was equivalent to expression A, then expression B would be 13. And so when looking at PEMDAS, probably should have wrote that for expression A, we need to do parentheses first. Notice how parentheses, or if you do gemma, parentheses and group-ins are first. And so you do what's inside the parentheses first. And so this is 5 to the second power. Now that we did parentheses and groupings, we can go to our exponents. 5 to the second power is equal to 25. And so another way you could have explained your reasoning is you could have said the two expressions are not equivalent. I know this because expression A simplifies to 13 and expression B simplifies to 25. Since they are not equal, it means it's not equivalent. And so let's go to expression B. Not expression B, example 2. All right, let's do example 2. Also, y'all, I'm doing this in pen so you can see it. And I like to live dangerously. Y'all should be doing this in pencil. Just saying. So again, we have example 2. And we need to follow PEMDAS. Or if you prefer, we either call it GEMMA. I know you guys learned it that way last year. Or some of y'all know it as GEMS. So groupings, exponents, multiplication, division, adding, subtracting. Or you have parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, adding, subtracting. And what you need to know is you want to go from left to right. And so here we have the expression 2 minus 4 times a binomial negative 2 minus 1 to the second power, all over 1/2 to the second power. And so when we have a complex fraction, when following PEMDAS, you need to do the numerator, then you need to do the denominator, and then you can combine both the numerator and the denominator to finish your answer. That's kind of something that students mess up, is they don't know how to follow PEMDAS when you have both the numerator and denominator both with expressions. And so here we follow PEMDAS. So we need to do parentheses first. Where do we see parentheses? We see it as -2 minus 1 to the second power. So here we can rewrite this as 2 minus 4 times -2. Subtracting a positive is the same as adding a negative to the second power. A lot of students will forget to put the second power. Always remember, carry down your exponent. So here we have 2 minus 4, and we do parentheses first, -2 plus -1. When you're adding two negatives together, you just want to add it like normal, but keep the sign. And so this is 4 times -3 to the second power. Notice how I'm keeping all my signs. I'm bringing down my subtraction sign. I remembered my exponent. Now we did our parentheses. So that's done with. Our groupings is done with. Next up is we have exponents. And so here I'm looking left to right. I do have an exponent, -3 to the second power. And so if I was just to do this on the side real quick, -3 to the second power. Since this -3 is inside parentheses and it's to the second power, that means I'm multiplying -3 times itself 2 times. And that would just give me a negative times a negative, which is a positive. So +9. And so, oh, I made a mistake. I didn't have my fraction there. So make sure y'all always carry down your fraction. And so -3 to the second power is equal to 2 minus 4 times 9 all over. Now I can also do 1/2 to the second power. So 1/2 to the second power means I need to square my numerator and square my denominator. So that's just going to be 1/4. Or you can see it as 1/4 times 1/4. See how we do 1 times 1, which is 1? Oh, wow. See, sometimes I think the answer ahead and I do it. So this is 1/2 times 1/2. And so here I do 2 times 2, which is 4. And so 1/2 to the second power is 1/2 times 1/2, which is just 1/4. And so now we finished our exponents. Now we do multiplication or division. So I go left to right. I see my numerator, it's 2 minus 4 times 9. I need to do 4 times 9. And so here I would do equals 2 minus 4 times 9, which is just 36, over 1/4. And then here, again, we want to keep going with our numerator. I did my multiplication and division in my numerator. And so now I need to add or subtract. This is 2 minus 36. And so subtracting a positive is the same as adding a negative. So I can change this subtraction sign to addition and make my 36 negative. So 2 plus -36 gives me -34 over 1/4. And now I have a integer divided by a fraction. And so now I just need to do keep, change, flip, aka the multiplicative inverse. So I keep my dividend, -34. I change from division to multiplication. And then I flip my 1/4 to be 4 over 1. And so that means my answer is going to be -34 times 4. So -34 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Regroup my 1. 4 times 3 is 12. Plus 1 is 3. So a negative times a positive is a negative. And so that means my answer is -136. And so that's just kind of how these problems go. You got to take your time. You simplify your numerator first, then you simplify your denominator, and then you can do your division. And so that's kind of what the difference between 7th and 8th grade is. 7th grade, you would already have this part. 8th grade, you need to work your way to it. Let's go to the next one. All right, and I also want to do one of our challenge problems And so here we want to evaluate the following expression where x is equal to -5 and y is equal to 3. And so what you need to do is just substitute these numbers in for your variables. So if I substitute x in with -5, this becomes -5 to the second power plus 30 times y, which in this case is 3. And then again, our x is just -5. So this would be plus -5. Also, what we do need to do is, since I am substituting x with -5, that means that I need to make sure to put that -5 in parentheses. Why do I need to do that? Is because we're saying x is -5. So this is -5 to the second power. By putting -5 in the parentheses, that's telling me I'm doing -5 times itself 2 times. And so -5 to the second power is -5 times -5, which is just 25. And so this becomes 25 plus 30 times 3, which is just going to be 90. Carry down my -5. And so here, 90 plus -5, treat it like subtraction, that's 85. So this is equal to 25 plus 85. And so 25 plus 85 would just give me 110. If you need to do that on the side, you could have done 85 plus 25. 5 plus 5 is 0. Regroup our 1. 8 plus 2 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. And that was problem number 2.